Hey folks, good morning. I just wanted to post about something rather shocking that just happened to me. I was on a high after Pride here in Cologne over the weekend, and I checked my, requests on Instagram, like messages from people that you don't follow or who don't follow you, and I saw that a comment that I made about some of the publicity for CSD Pride in Berlin, this was last week, that it resulted in a reaction to my story from the social media team at CSD Berlin, which I would argue is abusive and, at the very least, incredibly bad PR. So I will post my original story here so you can look at it. If you don't agree with it, I completely respect your right not to agree with it. And I'll post their reaction here, which is, I would argue, childish and not something that should happen inside the community. So I just want to, in a nutshell, what I said was that I think they should post stories about everyday people who are getting excited about Pride in Berlin, not necessarily influencers. And to their credit, over the past couple of weeks, they have posted stories featuring some of the kind of legendary queer activists in Berlin or other people with a different profile. So I take my hat off to them for doing that and doing something more along the lines with what I had raised as my concern. The other thing I said is that while I respect everyone's right to embrace the fetish that turns them on the most, for me personally, this year with everything going on, pup play where people wear masks and stuff, for me that's not the fetish I'll be showing on the street, because I feel it's important for us to show our faces and do that. If you are into pup play, that's completely cool. I have friends who are diehard pups. One of my best friends absolutely loves that. I don't understand it because it's not my fetish, but I want him to be happy and to do that, of course, and that's what diversity is all about in the community. But to come back with the kind of reaction that the social media team there sent, I mean, goodness gracious, it's just very unprofessional. I would argue that the folks there need a bit of training on how to handle people who have a slightly different perspective. An answer along the lines of, I'm sorry you feel that way, but we hope you find some other people in our promotions that click more a little bit with you, or something along those lines. That's all you need to say, right? And that's fine. We wish you happy Pride. Have a great time. That's all you need to do. You don't need to belittle your followers, right? That's a bit ridiculous. And to think for the last 2 years, I volunteered at CSD Berlin without getting a dime for it, multiple days, and I've been volunteering on the fetish scene in Berlin for over 10 years, helping organize events, including for puppies, right? This is so silly. Anyhow, I did have a wonderful weekend in Cologne because you have that feeling of power in numbers, but unfortunately some of the meanness that we experience as queer people comes from inside the community, and we just have to kind of give each other the space to have different perspectives without belittling each other. So CSD Berlin, we deserve a lot better than that kind of message, and you really should tell your people who are controlling your Instagram account that they need to interact with people in Berlin, including longtime supporters who've stood up for the association despite all of the problems it is experiencing at the moment. You have to be able to interact with people with all different perspectives in a more civilized, professional manner. Despite this, I will be at Pride in Berlin in a couple weeks, and I have an invitation for the reception next to the main stage because I was a volunteer last year. So I look forward to meeting in person members of the social media team who sent this abusive message to me. Happy Pride.